Welcome to On This Day, where we look back at the moments that made history, one day at a time. From major world events to the weird and unexpected, every date has a story. So, what happened on 30th of June? Let's find out. June 30th is a date that's been everything from explosive to transformative. It's marked the fall of powerful leaders, the rise of scientific discovery, and even a few brushes with the truly bizarre. From space landings and epic protests to unexplained explosions deep in the Siberian wilderness, today's journey through time is anything but boring. Let's begin in 1908, deep in the forests of Siberia, where a massive explosion known as the Tunguska event flattened over 800 square miles of forest. The likely cause? A meteoroid or comet fragment exploding in the atmosphere. No crater was found, no impact site. Just scorched trees and an enduring mystery that scientists are still fascinated by more than a century later. Fast forward to 1934, and we're in Germany during what became known as the Night of the Long Knives. Adolf Hitler ordered a brutal purge of political rivals and members of the SA, a Nazi paramilitary group. It was a violent consolidation of power, eliminating opposition and cementing Hitler's control over the Nazi Party and soon the German state. In 1971, tragedy struck in space. The Soviet Soyuz 11 mission returned to Earth. But when recovery teams opened the capsule, all three cosmonauts were dead. A cabin vent had accidentally opened during re-entry, causing them to suffocate. It remains the only time humans have died in space itself, and it led to major design changes in future missions. Jumping ahead to 1990, East and West Germany officially merged their economies, a major step toward full reunification after decades of Cold War division. The Deutsche Mark became the common currency, and the move paved the way for the formal unification that would follow just a few months later. On a much lighter note, June 30th, 2004, saw the official release of Spider-Man 2 starring Tobey Maguire. It was a huge success, praised for its storytelling and visual effects, and it's still considered one of the best superhero sequels ever made. Plus, it gave us that iconic train scene that lives rent-free in fans' minds. Back in 1860, the famous Oxford evolution debate took place at the University Museum in Oxford, England. Thomas Huxley, a defender of Darwin's theory of evolution, clashed with Bishop Samuel Wilberforce. The heated exchange helped bring the theory of natural selection into the public consciousness and sparked conversations that still ripple through science today. In 1997, the UK handed over control of Hong Kong to China, ending more than 150 years of British colonial rule. It marked the beginning of the one country, two systems framework. The ceremony was watched around the world and ushered in a new and often controversial era for the city of Hong Kong. And in 2005, Spain became the third country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. The decision made headlines globally and was seen as a major milestone for LGBTQ+ rights in Europe. Since then, the movement has continued to grow across the globe, with Spain helping lead the charge. Love discovering what happened on this day in history? Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, back to it. In 1953, the first Corvette rolled off the assembly line in Flint, Michigan. With its sleek fiberglass body and bold design, it became an instant American icon. Over the decades, the Corvette has remained a symbol of speed, style, and sports car dreams. Going even further back to 1520, we find the dramatic La Noche Triste, or the Night of Sorrows. Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés and his forces were forced to flee the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. They suffered heavy losses during the retreat. It was a rare moment when indigenous forces gained the upper hand against the invaders, though the tide would tragically turn again later. In 1972, the first official leap second was added to Coordinated Universal Time. Why? Because Earth's rotation isn't perfectly constant, so every now and then we need to adjust the clocks. It's the kind of invisible scientific tweak most people never notice, but it keeps the world in sync, literally. June 30th, 1966 was also the date the Beatles released their final world tour concert in Tokyo. It marked the beginning of the end for the band's touring years. Exhausted by screaming crowds and struggling to hear themselves over the noise, the Fab Four would soon retreat into the studio to focus on music instead of live performances, leading to albums like Sgt. Pepper's. In 1986, the U.S. Supreme Court made a controversial ruling in Bowers v. Hardwick, upholding laws that criminalized same-sex intimacy. It was a legal setback for LGBTQ+ rights, but one that would later be overturned in 2003 by Lawrence v. Texas, marking a significant turn in the fight for equality. And in 2019, Osaka, Japan, hosted the G20 summit, with world leaders gathering to discuss global trade, climate change, and international cooperation. These summits often involve serious photo ops, behind-the-scenes drama, and plenty of tense negotiations. While not every G20 leads to dramatic breakthroughs, they shape policies that ripple around the world. That's what happened on 30th of June throughout history. Made it this far? Drop your favorite historical fact in the comments. Learned something new? Hit subscribe and come back tomorrow. You never know what the past has in store.